Welcome back, you beauties. Thank you so much for dialing back into what I would imagine for some is a vitally important conversation right now, because the fledglings have left the nest. We are diving into a very big transition for many parents and I suppose many children as well. But we face the empty nest phase and we've got to do it with bravery. It's big life transition we are talking about here that happens when children obviously leave home, often leaving parents feeling a mix of pride, but loss and uncertainty. It's a new chapter, and this phase can be very challenging as parents adjust to a quieter home and a shift in their daily purpose. For some, that must sound great. For others, a little terrifying. So we brought in specialist wellness counsellor and co-owner of Arise Mental Wellness, Christiane Irene, alongside life coach Kirsty Melmiden, here to share some supportive approaches to help us parents embrace this new chapter with confidence and excitement, because it should be an exciting phase. But even as I think about this happening only in about 20 years' time, it breaks my heart. It's a roller coaster. Obviously, there are so many, it's loaded. There are so many emotions coming to bear in this phase. What are some of the most common reactions? Because we are built the way we are built.
We are. And I think it is unique to every person's, circumstances, but commonly, you're probably going to be feeling some panic. like we've spent their entire lives getting them ready for this moment, and is it going to go okay? I can't protect them anymore. Maybe a bit of anxiety around that. Definitely a sense of grief, because the role that you've been playing the last 20 or so years
what's your identity now?
Completely, exactly. And also, hopefully, a little bit of an underlying sense of hope and excitement and pride, but probably a lot of
I kind of think of it as like going all in. You've done your work, you've hopefully done as much as you can to prepare your child. You send them on their way, but that's been your context for the last 18 years, is that. So when that shifts and you've now got to turn that gaze inward and find purpose within yourself, what does that look like? Because I think that's where this becomes really challenging.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to take a beat before you launch into, okay, who am I and what do I want out of my life?
I'm buying the motorbike.
Exactly. Don't make any rash decisions, please. But rather take a beat, take a moment, acknowledge the grief and the feelings that are there, and then think, what do I want to do now? I've got this time. I've probably got a lot more energy. Probably got a few more resources available to me. What do I actually want to do with that? What's important to me? What am I passionate about? And recognizing that some of the things that may have been important to you prior to having children might not be anymore. And so you get to rediscover that.
And it doesn't mean your children are less important to you.
They still need you.
Exactly.
Just
and
different.
They will phone you, and they will need you just like they needed you when you were 4 years old. And I know that because I phoned my mother last week, needing that exact same plug-in. And that's the way that it works. It's a beautiful thing. There is this joy of it's a dichotomy of mourning the loss of the child that you said goodbye to yesterday and the joy of meeting the person that they become tomorrow. And I love that phase with my children. And that's kind of where we're at now. Now they really are going to hopefully fully become. I don't want that relationship to suffer now that there's space and time between us. Christy, how do I ensure that that relationship with my adult child can also transition through this phase?
Well, that's a fantastic question. Maintaining relationships and strong relationships with your adult children requires balance.
Okay.
You see, as a parent, we have nurtured our children hands-on as babies, learning to get a little bit less hands-on as they grew, but this is the most hands-off we're ever going to need to be. But that doesn't mean that there's not a balance to it. We are still there for our children. We are still a supporter for our children. And we need to maintain that role.
We can still show up.
Absolutely. It does, however, look a little different. This is that almost guidance figure. This is that supportive role. This is that listening ear. But do remember to always almost listen for when your children are asking. Adult children will still need mommy and daddy. Don't forget. But they will ask for that help now. And we need to foster that budding independence by letting them ask and not almost challenging or changing the choices they come to.
Oh, man, and this is one of the, I suppose as a grown-up, and I'll get there one day, you know that most of your strength, most of that well that you need to dip into during the tough times comes from the tough times. So they need to learn that, they need to grow and get that suit of armor, but it's very difficult. Something that I mean, maybe it might need another session to talk about this, but you might be left alone in your empty nest with someone else, i.e. your partner who you haven't had time to go on date nights with and really connect with in a very long time. So Christy, how does that conversation start together? Because that's your first line of support, the first person that you're going to have to reintroduce yourself to in some cases. How do we start rebuilding or really delve into our partnership again?
This is one of the best parts of a little bit of emptiness syndrome, is once we do close that door and we're almost to the rude awakening of, oh, I'm alone in my home, my child's gone out into the world, we almost have just that one special person left. And it's like falling in love all over again if done correctly.
I love that.
We need to almost foster that connection. We're both changing, going from mom, dad, or a parental figure into this new role of just being ourselves. And we need to almost know that to give each other time and space to become themselves, but fostering that together. Almost fall back into that friendship you once had and foster the friendship, the relationship, and the giggles on the way while we find that identity together.
I absolutely love that, because it is an opportunity, as much as, yes, it is going to be an absolute wash of emotion. And I say that in advance. I can even feel it starting to well up inside me. But you got this. Why? Because it gives you an opportunity to reconnect with yourself and your amazing partner on the most authentic level. And we love that. And we're going to delve into some practical tips of what you can do right now to lessen the pain and start opening up that gateway a little bit more.